Okay, so I'm going to talk about writing Cornell notes, and I'm going to show you an example of how to do this. So I have my Cornell note paper explaining how to do it, my binder paper, and an article. I picked out an article on Paul Laurence Dunbar, who our school is named after. So the first tip first is to set up the paper. So the way you set up the paper, when I read this, I'm going to answer. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take notes. Now, take notes. When you take notes, it's really important to use your own words. Be selective, and do not write complete sentences. This is something I notice a lot of students do. They write complete sentences. Notes should be fast and should involve you processing the information, not just copying down information. Include main ideas and details, indent, skip lines between main ideas, and use abbreviations. So I'm going to show you guys examples of this. So first, I'm going to read through this paragraph. Paul Laurence Dunbar was born in Dayton, Ohio on June 27, 1872. His parents, blah, 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 were married 6 months earlier on December. So I'm going to just start writing dates. So I'm noticing I have dates. So I'm going to write early life. I'm noticing this is going to be about the early life. And I'm going to write a 1. I'm going to make an outline. Then I'm going to just write important things. DOB is date of birth. I'm using a thing. It's 6/27/1872. Okay, I don't think his parents are that important. I do notice his parents were married out of wedlock. Born to slaves. Okay, so born to former slaves in Ohio. His dad was in the infantry regiment. I don't think this is all important, so I'm not going to write it. I'm going to only write the things that I think are important to helping me answer who was Dunbar. His mom had been married previously and had 2 sons. She was pregnant. She left her husband. She gave birth to a daughter. She divorced. His mom divorced when he was 13 years old. Many of their experience of slave and plantation life influenced Dunbar's later writing. So I'm going to write that. Parents influenced him. Okay, I'm going to write some information. Mom divorced. That was weird that she divorced. Okay. Plantation life. So here I'm remembering like all these things about his life, okay? And his dad was a soldier in the Civil War. Okay? And so here you can see I only wrote down a few pieces of information. Okay? So now I'm going to read this one. The relationship between Matilda and her son Paul was a strong one. Recognized that he explained early talent with words, she ensured to see he received the best education. His older 2 stepbrothers dropped out of school, but she would not let the same thing happen. He attended 10th Street Elementary School and then continued his education by attending Central High School. At Central, he was the only African-American in his class, of which Orville Wright, who I'm assuming is a famous person, was also a member. During high school, he wrote and published poems in his school newspaper, serving as the editor, and was also an active member of the literary debate. So I'm going to just write a few of these things. So I think this paragraph, this is going to be a second thing. I'm going to skip a line, and I'm going to write a second thing. And I'm going to write education. Okay. And I'm going to write he had a strong relationship with mom. And you can see I'm paraphrasing, and I'm just writing what I see. Education was important. 2 bros dropped out. Okay. Only African American in high school class, okay? And he published poems in high school, okay? And also was a member of the Lit and Debate Societies, published in the newspaper, and he was in the short-lived in a African American paper. So and in American paper called the Tatler. Okay, so now here I've done my notes, and what I'm going to do next is step 2. Step 2 is to process, and what processing needs to do is I'm going to use visual cues, bullets, and symbols, underline, highlight, clarify, or revise, write questions on the side, and write my summary at the end of the notes. So I have some extra pens. I like to do this with different colors. So here I'm going to just reread through. So who was Paul Laurence Dunbar? So I can see this. So I'm seeing this. I'm reading this early life, and I'm going to write a question on the side. And this question can either be like a question that's answered. So I can write something like, when the pen's not working. Let me get the pen that works. Okay. When was Dunbar born? And here I can write the question, and I can even just underline the answer. So I here have the answer. I can also ask a question about the text. So I can be like, how common was divorce back then? And basically the point of my questions is for me to actively engage and review my text. I can also do things like bullets, symbols, underline, highlight. So I'm gonna just use my pen, and I might even use another color, and I'm gonna circle some things I think are important. I might even talk about this, like this plantation life, maybe did this affect his writing? Okay, I know that this affected writing, okay, and I'm gonna also write this. The fact that he was born to enslaved people definitely affected his writing. I'm gonna keep on going, writing my questions. I want you guys just to watch me, and you'll notice the different types of questions and things I do. So now I'm done my notes, and I'm gonna write a summary. And so what I'm gonna do for my summary, you can see you write a summary. A summary is a 3 to 5 sentence, and I'm just gonna write it on the next page. And I am going to write 3 to 5 sentences that identify the main ideas and address the essential question. So my essential question was, who was Paul Laurence Dunbar? So I can also use this sentence for you, and I'm gonna use them. So in the notes, I learned about Paul Laurence Dunbar. Okay? A key detail is he's important. I'm just going to write, he is an important poet from the early 1900s, late 1800s, who used his parents' life as slaves as inspiration for his work. Okay? An important detail from the notes, so I'm going to use this one. The notes is that he didn't go to college and self-published his first book of poems. And then I'm going to write a little bit about his legacy. I'm going to write, he died early, but his legacy affected the Harlem Renaissance. So here you can see I'm not getting too bogged down in specific details. I'm more kind of summarizing the big main ideas. I can go back to my notes and find those details. I'm just using this to kind of synthesize the information. I'll let you take a look at that. Now, I've done all my whole processes. Now I have to review. So now what I can do is I have a nice set of notes. I can go back to this and read this before a test, before a quiz, before an essay, and I have all this information. Okay, that is it.